Hello there, Mad Mike here, and welcome back to the channel. And today we have the very sudden and unfortunate news that Black Panther actor Chadwick Boseman has passed away due to colon cancer at the age of 42. Um, this comes completely out of left field, I think, for basically everybody except for probably his immediate family, or maybe just most of his family. Apparently, he kept this out of the public eye for the last 4 years. He's been battling this even before he started Black Panther. I would go around the time that he did, since Captain America: Civil War came out in 2016, and that was roughly 4 years ago. So I mean, throughout the entirety of his MCU career, he has been battling this disease. It's actually kind of ironic too, because he also played Jackie Robinson in the biopic film 42, and Jackie Robinson also died young. But I guess a little bit of irony there. But the thing is that again, this is kind of like the Kobe Bryant thing, where this is just like nobody was expecting to hear this today. No, nobody was expecting that Chadwick Boseman was going to pass away. So it's kind of it's odd because we expect to see him again because we of the whole MCU, all the MCU stuff. We see those actors so frequently because of films and even because of their relation to the MCU, because they get all these other roles as a result of it. And Chadwick Boseman did as well. He got several other ones, and he has several projects that are still in production, as well as Black Panther 2, which obviously is now going to have to find a new lead. But I want to kind of focus on really two movies from Boseman's career, or two roles, I should say. Obviously, one is Black Panther, and I'll go over the title film and his various other appearances as well, and his role as Jackie Robinson in 42. Because that really, if you're going to track his career back, a lot of what was before Jackie Robinson was a lot of television roles, reoccurring TV roles, that kind of thing. Kind of the bread and butter for a young actor. And then he does 42. And when he did Jackie Robinson in 42, everybody loved him. That was a great role for him. I think that was a movie that probably, I can't remember if there's been any other really large Jackie Robinson biopics aside from that one, at least in recent memory. And that one really put him on the map as somebody that people wanted to try and get. And of course, because of that, Disney decided to go after him for Black Panther, which he was then cast as for Captain America: Civil War in 2016, and he reprised in Black Panther, Avengers: Infinity War, and Avengers: Endgame. So Jackie Robinson was really, it showed that Boseman had acting chops. He had legitimate acting chops, and he was very good in that film. Now, obviously the role I'm more familiar with is his portrayal of T'Challa, Black Panther, and I think what made him such a good Black Panther, and by the way, even though I'm kind of lukewarm on the actual Black Panther film for a couple different reasons, I really did enjoy him in it. I think he was one of the best parts of the newer MCU in terms of the way that. Yeah, he always seemed like an actor who was very respectful towards the fans. He was very respectful towards the properties, the Marvel properties, and stuff like that. He never seemed like he was out to get anybody, or he didn't seem like a Brie Larson. He wasn't out there grandstanding and stuff like that. He seemed like just a nice, normal guy, and that was kind of something that I think attracted a lot of people to that character initially, was because Chadwick Boseman is a very likable person, or I should say was a very likable person. I did kind of have to try and get used to saying that, but God, I hate making death videos. But when you see him as T'Challa, especially in Black Panther, he does feel like he's carrying that film. He feels like he's carrying that. And when I say carrying the film, I don't necessarily mean the other actors are not doing their parts. I mean that he really does a good job at playing the lead in that film. I like the way he portrays himself. I like the way he carries himself. You always see him as a king. A lot of the camera angles that we see him from in that film are kind of from the a little bit lower looking up at him, kind of pushing him up there again, kind of like a king or a hierarch, something like that, because that's what he is now. Now that his father, in the film, his father had passed away in Captain America: Civil War after the bombing and stuff like that. So he is now the king of Wakanda, and it kind of the movie's plot line follows a lot of kind of that Shakespearean idea, the whole, oh, my cousin has come to take the throne and this kind of stuff. Um, the stuff with Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger. So, it works very well in that tandem because Killmonger is kind of this, I'll do excuse me, I'll do whatever I have to do to defeat you, whereas T'Challa is more of a respectable opponent or a respectable fighter in the sense that he is willing to face him on even grounds, even though he doesn't have to. It's the idea of honor, and again, that kind of comes along with this, king, this idea, this Arthurian idea of knighthood and kings and things like that. So I liked that about him. It showed that he had the moral fiber of a leader, at least in terms of the characteristics. And I think they surrounded Boseman with a lot of really good actors in that film. You had Lupita Nyong'o, who was the main love interest. I'm sorry if I forget a lot of the other actors in it. You have Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger, even though he's not in the movie for very long. His motivations are actually kind of interesting, even though I can't stand the street talk basically that he does in that film. But I did like, he was physically intimidating. He did not look like, the Creed Michael B. Jordan, I guess, in that film. So it was legitimate that you felt like he was a threat to T'Challa, even after T'Challa got the Panther fruit back. So you have that, and then you also have the going forward from that, you had him in Infinity War, more in Infinity War, and then in Endgame, where he comes in at the end basically, and again, I think in Infinity War he does a great job. I think he the physical aspects of Black Panther. Now I don't know how much of T'Challa's actual stunts he did. I mean, I should say T'Challa. Boseman's stunts that he actually did, because again he had this condition at the time as well. But the costume covers everything up, so you could replace it with a stuntman. Again, I'm not sure how much of his own stunts he did. Some of it was CGI, obviously, for various things, but even like some of the fighting stunts and stuff like that, I'm not sure how much of it he was actually in the suit. But again, if he wasn't, I kind of understand why now. So again, and even despite that, it was a very physically demanding role because he had to keep his body in a very high, physical shape to do this stuff. When they have the scenes in Black Panther where he's fighting on the waterfall edge, that's him. He's not in the suit. You can have a stunt double in there to an extent, but he is not. He's not in the suit for that thing. So, he's doing a lot of that work there, which is, it was a fairly, heavy fight, to look at, and it had lasted for a while too. So, I don't know how much I can really say because unfortunately, his career was cut short. I think he would have been a very bright star in Hollywood, or continue to be one in the future, even after he had retired from Black Panther, or had picked up another role, or even had just continued on in that line. And I think that ultimately the MCU is going to miss people like Chadwick Boseman, because he is kind of what he is the right person to lead your film. If you're going to make a Black Panther film, he was the right choice, and I think that it's one of the few right choices that Disney made during that time period. But I think that ultimately that made that movie was casting him in that role and having him, be the courteous and kind person that he was. So again, I don't know how much more I can say, but that's just a kind of a little bit about him and kind of my personal feelings about some of the roles that he's done, or at least some of the major ones. Like I said, obviously Black Panther and Jackie Robinson were very high up there. But I want to know what your thoughts are. What was your favorite Chadwick Boseman portrayal? Were you familiar with him from any other roles that I didn't mention here? Any movies that you recommend of him again, or television shows or whatever? Because I know he did also do a lot of TV early in his career. So, anything that you want to post it below. And thank you again for listening. Hit the bell for notifications, hit the like button, subscribe, and remember, I live my life free of compromise. Do you?